Okay, so when we talk about Cavallo and Reedy's article, Emotions and Executive Function, the Effect of Normal Mood States on Influence Tasks, we all must keep in mind that whenever we're not in a sane state, and that means calm, thinking rationally, sometimes our decisions can be impulsive. And with impulsive thinking comes bad decision making. I mean, let's be honest, nobody is, you know, going to, in the heat of the moment, be thinking for the best. It's at that moment what needs to happen, and you jump on it. Now, in the outcome, sometimes it could work in your favor. Then sometimes it can't work in your favor. So we have to make sure that we are aware of the negative that could come with emotional thinking. And that is so imperative. It is needed to pretty much be thought out, because negative thinking sometimes don't always have I could fix this later. Making a wrong decision can be final. And sometimes we do that, and we think like that based on impulse. So I think that what we have to understand is that this article has specific studies, and some of the results came from like an EEG. Now, I would have totally compared that to an EKG, but whatever may happen. And I think that is where it tests the mind. So you have these like tubes or whatever that are attached, and in a moment of questions being asked, they're reading on a monitor what happens. And on this one, it states that the emotions were found greater in cerebral activation, more so on the left side than the right, and that was during a positive mode. So that makes me determine that in a negative mode, everything would just be debacle, like just not really giving good results. So then it says, in the first experiment, the test of association between emotions influencing performance, it was investigated that the effects introduced positive and negative mood on verbal and design fluency tasks. So it goes on to say that the participants completed a design of verbal fluency tests before positive and negative mood states, where they were introduced into a completed design of fluency subtests. So that's just letting me know that there were people who were in positive moods, and then there are probably people who had later became agitated, maybe, or or taken from an agitated state and asked questions. Sometimes you won't always get the answer you ask if a person is in a bad mood, because me myself, if I'm not in a good mood and you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you straight up, look, this ain't the time, I don't want to talk about it right now, don't ask me no questions. Now, if I give you that and you're still constantly trying to seek and find out some information, then I'm going to get nasty nice, because I done already told you I'm not in the mood. So now it's time to, look, I done told you. So now you keep on going, we're going to have an issue, and it's going to be serious. And that's just negative decision making at that time on my part, because I'm in a bad mood and someone constantly asks me a question. This is a free country. This is a freedom of speech. You can ask whatever you want to. Your mood does not dictate what someone if they have a question for you. So now we move on. The participants range from 18 to 88, and they were recruited from the Western Massachusetts area with various methods to find out the determination of the emotions and the executive functioning. So then it says that the review board approved the participant pool and were contacted for participation. And they did this by using exclusion, English speaking, and at least 9 years of formal education to participate. They did participants with neurology illness, past and major or psychiatric diagnosis. Um, and they were even, given like little stipends or whatever to participate. Everyone was screened, and like I said, you did the exclusion, and then they did the inclusion. A criteria, and it was performed over the phone. How you can understand something over the phone, I don't know. I prefer face-to-face contact because I will need to see the reaction that you're giving me, because sometimes you can say stuff just for people to feel good about it or make them feel good about it, but the body language and what you give can definitely determine if that answer is legit and real. Because I know me, sometimes, you ask me a question, and if I feel like the question is not, of standard, then I'll answer it the way I think that you want it to sound. Knowing that deep down, I'm like, I'm not really going to involve myself with that. So let me give you what you asking, and then I'm going to keep it moving. So in the end, the result was that the mood and performance test was positively and significantly associated with verbal fluence performance. And they continue to use those tests because it's significantly associated with the design fluency that they had set up. So that is the end of what I've acquired out of this article. And as I state, whenever you're trying to function appropriately, accordingly to normal standards, make sure that you try to put your best foot forward and keeping calm, clear mind. Thank you. Bye bye.